Hello, I'm Justin, the founder of Shock Therapy. Shock Therapy has been around for 5 years, but we have personally been tuning suspension on off-road cars and race vehicles for over 25 years. We tune between 10 and 15 cars per day, every single day of the week. Our concentration is tuning shock systems and supplying components that improve the ride quality of your car in many ways. Not only do we work on the average UTV, but we also tune suspension for race teams and professional drivers. We currently tune for over 87 race teams in Best in Desert and Score. Our clients and race teams rely on our suspension components to allow them to win races and keep them safe. Suspension is a moving target. We are always trying to hit that target with every customer that we work with. Each customer's needs can be different, and we tune our kits accordingly. Our research and development never stops. We improve our components every single day. As the industry evolves and improves, so do our parts and kits. As of right now, we have over 100 products for UTVs. So when you bring your car to us, you have the satisfaction of knowing that you have the most experience, the highest quality products, and the fact that your car is being tuned specifically to you.
Let's do this. Get ready for the Dirt Life Show.
Woo! Welcome to episode 29 of the Dirt Life Show. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. We are so stoked. Tonight is going to be a big hitter of a show, man. It's going to be pretty awesome. We have former Troy Lee Designs Supercross and Motocross racer Jessy Nelson as our featured guest tonight. We cannot wait to talk to Jessy. He's got such a motivating and inspiring story. He's just an all-around awesome dude. We want to also go over the Mint 400. We got Justin Smith from Shock Therapy going to give us a call. We got our buddy Craig Scanlon going to call in. He also raced the Mint 400 in his new Polaris Razor, and he's a buddy of Jesse's. So he's going to talk to Jessy a little bit, and we're going to have some fun tonight. It'll be pretty cool. In studio, got awesome friend of mine, Casey Peck. How's it going, bud?
Good. Doing good.
You had a pretty busy weekend?
Yeah, not too bad. Got a little bike rides in and went looking for some house stuff, so we had a good time.
Home Depot, Bed Bath & Beyond. Not sure if you have enough time. Well, we're kind of pressed for time because we have some hard cuts for people that are calling in. So let's jump right into it. We like I said, we want to thank everybody for joining us. It is not a show without you guys. You guys are our bread and butter, and we love talking to you guys. So keep hitting us up on social media. You can always hit us up at The Dirt Life Show on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube as well. We want to start pushing YouTube a little bit more. It seems like the technology is better on YouTube when we stream these live shows and stuff. So go over to our YouTube channel, The Dirt Life Show, and sign up, subscribe, do all that good stuff. And chime in anytime. Send us a message on social media. Like I said, we are always willing to talk to you guys. And, just growing the show. It's really, really cool to see all the growth. Excuse me. We want to thank all of our sponsors for keeping us going and just making sure that the show runs good. It's super cool to see. Like Shock Therapy's always been there for us. Justin's going to call in, obviously, but he's just been one of our main supporters. Even throughout my racing career, you can always use the code DIRTLIFE and get a big old fat discount on any Shock Therapy products you want. Get a ride improvement system for your side-by-side or anything for that matter. And get some t-shirts, get some cool stuff, man. They have all kinds of rad stuff. Those guys just did, we'll talk to Justin about it. The top 5 guys at the Mint 400 were all Shock Therapy guys.
Nice.
So that's pretty impressive to say the least.
Absolutely.
So, so it's pretty cool. Go get some Shock Therapy stuff. Use the code DIRTLIFE. Give them a call. Tell them the Dirt Life sent you. Zollinger Racing Products. Those guys placed first in the UTV Unlimited class at the Mint 400. Those guys make awesome products. We actually have something over here we're going to probably show next week. Yeah, you can use the code DIRTLIFE at ZollingerRacingProducts.com. Get some radius rods, get, all kinds of billet aluminum stuff, man. They just have an awesome machine shop. All of it's made in the USA up in Utah. So thank you to Travis Zollinger and his team, and congratulations to those guys for doing so well at the Mint 400. We have a new supporter of the show this week. Everybody's favorite, Rugged Radios. So I can't wait to give the code DIRTLIFE out to everybody that's watching, listening, and use the code DIRTLIFE. Go to RuggedRadios.com, and you can save a bunch of money on a bunch of Rugged Radio products. We've already supplied it to a few of our listeners that chimed in and messaged us. So it's really, really cool to have companies like them just, jump on board and just have fun with us. So thank you very much to the guys at Rugged Radios. Always, always awesome products. We never had any communication issues during my racing career. Love those guys over there. And plus, they love tacos. So it doesn't get much better than that. And, thank you very, very much to Solderweld for always being on board with us, Lance and his guys. We had somebody message in this week asking how they can get a Solderweld repair kit. So you guys can go to solderweld.com and get your own repair kit and rescue your ride or your race, and always stay safe on the trail. So what is it? 6:05. I did pretty good, man. I got it done fast there. So let's go over Daytona Supercross, dude. What'd you think?
It's easy to say now, but pretty much what everybody expected.
Yeah, I mean,
it didn't start that way, but Tomac came out swinging like everybody pretty much expected.
He just bulldogged it to the front, that's for sure.
He did. He's always on another level at that place, it seems like.
He really is. I think it's his riding style, though. I mean, as long as you can hold on and twist the throttle, that place, you're going to do good. And I think one of the main observations that I had, and I was trying to put it in perspective compared to off-road racing. So the Mint 400, I was explaining to you a little bit about it. You just go balls to the wall, and if you finish, you can usually do pretty good. The fastest guy that doesn't break is going to win.
Right.
And if they break, then they just don't win. You know what I mean? So it's real hit or miss. And I felt like I was the same kind of attitude that at least the 250 guys started with.
Yeah.
Because that Marchbanks dude, Garrett Marchbanks.
That was awesome for him.
He waxed those guys.
He did. I would imagine Mitch Payton's probably, he's definitely happy, but because old Jordan Smith's not holding up his end of the bargain, I don't think he's having some issues. So that was pretty cool to see.
He needs to do a little bit better, that's for sure.
The quote-unquote other guy make it happen. So that was pretty awesome.
I definitely agree with that. And that's kind of what I was saying, though, is you would expect, let's just say Chase Sexton obviously did well. But
of course, right.
So the consistent guys and the top guys, you would expect him to do well. But there's always one guy that's, ready to get out there and give it 110%. And it's similar to desert racing. You just go balls to the wall, and he did that.
Yeah, and back to Tomac, too, same thing. There was a few instances where his feet are flying off the pegs, and he's hanging off the back. And okay, but you're right. That's
like Carmichael days.
Yeah, oh my gosh, those were insane,
dude. Yeah, he was riding pretty good, and I thought it was pretty cool. When I was watching the race, I was thinking to myself, okay, Ken Roczen is going to give it 100%.
Right.
He's probably not going to give it 101, 110.
Right.
He's not going to go over, and he's not going to But you could see there was a few dudes behind him. Even if they were a little slower, they were, like you said, their feet were flying off. They were, holding on for dear life. So it was cool to kind of make that correlation of when, they're going to give it their all. And you get happy when you see that because they're, pushing themselves so hard.
It was definitely – it was kind of uneventful, but – watching that because we're looking at the details because we're so into it. Yeah, it was that's
so basically
awesome.
What you're saying is if Cincerello was there, he would have got it done.
I don't know about that.
We know he would have pushed it, that's for sure.
Yeah, he would have.
I thought the race was pretty cool. I didn't care for the track when I first saw it. At the beginning of the day, I was thinking to myself, that's kind of boring. But it's because it was flat and it was smooth.
So they're smart in the fact of most of the track as it fell apart was still doable.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So give it up to them to say, okay, when this thing gets at its worst, it's still going to be raceable and the stuff's still going to work.
Right, exactly.
So that's probably why, as it started in the beginning, because I was in the same boat, really?
It's kind of boring.
Yeah. but it ended up being okay.
Yeah, I thought it was pretty cool once we saw it start kicking off. The did you see that whoop section that took down like 10 dudes in that 250 class?
I did.
So I heard, and I don't know if this is true, but I heard that what they did was and this is another correlation to Mint 400, they built them up before the first heat or something like that.
Yeah, between practice and qualifying and all that, before the first night racing or show racing, whatever you call it. Yeah. What the heck? Can you imagine coming out being the first guys and just what happened?
So that correlates to the Mint 400 as well. So in desert racing, you don't get a practice laps or anything. You just go out there and go.
Sure.
Well, on the track, they built some whoops, some man-made whoops and stuff, and it caught a few guys off guard.
Oh, really?
Some guys lost it pretty bad. One guy broke his back.
Oh, no.
Yeah. Got another guy hurt his neck and stuff. So it's pretty gnarly when stuff like that happens. And I was thinking to myself, because there was a bunch of comments online and stuff like that, I was thinking to myself, man, like short course is so much safer because you can obviously see what you're looking at and stuff like that. But is there a way to like make it safer for those guys in the desert? Like, do you warn them? Do you do the racers know like I better take it easy the first lap? Like, what's the mentality? Like, I don't know how to actually have an answer to fix that.
I know it almost seems like, well, it's 400 miles, right? Or close in there.
Right there.
So other than pre-running, obviously, but can you imagine if there was a way to like program a drone? How cool would that be?
To go run the track?
Yeah, like so the drone goes and flies, a few hours ahead of you or something. How cool would that be?
I think you might have just sparked a whole bunch of people trying to do that now.
Oops.
That would be pretty cool. I've never seen anybody do that before. And I don't know how you would even do it because the courses are pretty long.
Yeah, I know exactly. That would be
so. Like, let's just say you got like, well, if it's a point to point, then obviously it's pointless. But yeah, so I don't know. That's actually a pretty good idea though, because you wouldn't be able to pre-run like the Mint 400 course unless you do it way beforehand, and that section wouldn't be there anyway.
Exactly.
But
it almost seems like they owe the racers some kind of preview before they go out and risk everything. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And maybe it could be something like that where they actually
they give GPS coordinates, and so they'll mark it off by putting like yellow for danger or like a little sign or something. But I don't know. Like I don't. When I saw it, I was like, man, that's crazy. Like
I wonder who.
And I'm like 100% safety now, obviously.
Without getting into all of it, I wonder who went out and just arbitrarily said, hey, let's put some whoops here. Do you think it was the organization?
Yeah, it would be the organization, the promoters and stuff. But they're not ever going to go out there and do it so that they can cause havoc. They're going to do it because they think it's a cool section for the drivers.
The only reason I bring it up is because there's been all those problems throughout the years with the Baja stuff where people just go out and
booby
make
traps
booby traps and stuff. Yeah. I don't think that's the case.
That's jacked up when
that
people
is
do that.
terrible, man.
Yeah, and the promoters, and they would never do stuff like that. But it just brings up a good point. Like, so for Supercross and for these types of races, like, how do you make it as safe as possible?
Right.
So, man, I do think it was a pretty good race, and the Mint 400 I think was a great race as well. I didn't get to watch all of it. I barely got to watch any of it, but I did get obviously the results and stuff. Polaris did very well. Can-Am obviously was up there too. Mm-hmm. But let's see here. The first driver, the guy that won it, was Brandon Sims. He did really, really well. He didn't have any issues all day. Like, he just cruised to the finish. Oh, one thing I forgot to mention, and I commented on their social media, but super duper cool. Bryce Menzies' co-driver, his name's Oren, but he proposed to his wife now.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Out in the dirt, huh?
No, like on the podium.
Oh, nice. Even better.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, got it.
It was super cool to see.
Cool.
Like I was obviously pumped for everybody that won and did good and stuff like that. But, dude, there's some things that just supersede all that.
Yeah, that'll never go away.
Yeah, absolutely. And they were obviously happy on social media and posting it, too. So congratulations, guys. You guys really, really made a big impact on social media. You took all the glory away from the other guys.
Even better.
But that is super cool. So congratulations to them. So Brandon Sims won. Jacob Carberg came home second. Dustin Jones, who will be on the show in 2 weeks now. 2 weeks from now. He got third in his Can-Am. Justin Smith, our shock therapy guy, he came home fourth. And then Mitch Guthrie, another shock therapy guy, came home fifth. So those were all very, very good drivers. There's tons and tons of good drivers here. But the cool thing is that there's so many UTVs finishing now. I mean, like a few years ago, 90% of the field wouldn't even finish. So it's really cool to see how big the classes are, how consistent people are finishing up front, and it's kind of starting to work its way into being a place where you can pick your favorite drivers, like
Right.
Supercross. You pick your top 5 guys, and they'll always be up there. You can pick NASCAR. You can kind of pick your top 10 guys, and they'll always be up there. And it's really gaining a lot of momentum, so it can be a good spectator sport.
Right. You got guys you can follow now, and teams you can follow because it's not just a crapshoot.
Absolutely.
Like that's cool.
So it is really cool. You know, like I love seeing that. Even bicycle stuff is kind of getting consistent like that these days. So I think it's awesome, man. I really enjoy watching the growth of the sport. It's, you know, it's just cool because I always wanted it to be like that. I always wanted it to be, well, look at Honda. Honda just came in and has a factory level program for side-by-sides and trucks too, but for side-by-sides, and they're doing well. Their first year out, you know what I mean?
Yeah, so they're taking it serious, obviously.
Yeah, and so to have these manufacturers coming in with factory level programs, it's pretty bitchin', dude.
Yeah, I mean, even that fact alone shows you that they've done their research enough to go, all right, it's solid enough for us to go in head first, full bore, and support it. So that says a lot.
Yeah, 100%. Well, looky here. We got Justin Smith calling in. What's up, bud?
Hey, what's up, guys?
How are you doing, dude? You on a high from the Mint 400 or what?
We're definitely riding the high from that race, man. It was one of the coolest things for us to actually show up and finish the race finally after a hell of a crappy season last year. So everybody's got a shot in the arm of adrenaline and confidence that maybe the team really needed.
Yeah, that's really cool. And Casey and I were just talking, like, the team aspect of it is just so cool. Like, we all have all these manufacturers coming into the sport now, and you guys are obviously part of the Can-Am squad right now, and you guys have dealt with all kinds of different manufacturers with your suspension business. It's just really, really cool to see the sport grow, man. Like, just think 2-3 years ago, half the field wouldn't have finished, and now look at how many people are finishing and doing well.
It's incredible, honestly. I mean, and everybody likes to call these things go-karts, but I don't think you can do that anymore. They've really grown up, and, you know, these cars are running 10-car pace. That's incredible. If you think about where they were 5 years ago or 10 years ago.
Do you guys have any data on what your average speed was?
About 50 miles an hour or so. I think the winner, Brandon was like 50.4 maybe.
Can you believe that, Casey?
That's moving.
That's crazy.
For sure. That's legit.
Well,
through the desert,
especially in a race like the Mint. You know, there's a lot of rough sections in it. It's, you know, it's not Baja rough, but it's rocky whoop. And a lot of washes that are only single track, and if you get off single track in any way, you're going to rip an arm off on a rock. So a lot of the technical stuff really slows it down, and still pulling off a 50-mile-an-hour average is pretty awesome.
Yeah, so imagine in the rough stuff where they're just getting it to make up that average. Yeah.
Oh yeah, like when they're going 70 through the
for sure.
Yeah, and then they're going 10 miles an hour.
Right.
Yeah, it's just
awesome.
crazy. And to see the cars come up that much is pretty badass too. Well, tell us a little bit about your race, Justin.
You know, I think our race we kind of just were showing up with the idea of finishing. Our main goal was to kind of have a conservative pace, kind of judge our pace amongst everybody after a lap, and then adjust and go from there. But right off the get-go, I screwed the start up pretty bad. I tried to time the green they had somewhat of a Christmas tree at the start of this race, and I tried timing it. I was a little bit early, so I grabbed the brakes to make sure that we didn't do something wrong, and I basically screwed it all up. So we were behind Burroughs, who we started next to, and out the first couple of miles, obviously the dust from him was pretty nasty. So we just settled back behind that and followed him for about 20 miles, but as soon as we got, I guess, comfortable, and we got the first big rough section, which is about 3 miles of 3-foot whoops. It's pretty popular. Everybody's out there with, you know, spectating in that area. I see a lot of that on.
That's some pretty big bumps,
feeds.
though.
Yeah, if they were narrower or closer space, it'd be a lot easier. But these short wheelbase cars, they're spaced out trophy truck distance. It's kind of like jumping from one to the next instead of getting on top of them. But we were able to pull 55 to 60 mile an hour in that. And
Holy shit! Really?
We got this car pretty close on a suspension guess for this race. So
wow,
we were able
good.
to run pretty hard in the big stuff. So we were able to pass a couple of guys. By the time we got to our first pit at 35 miles, they said we were fourth. I'm not really sure how that happened. I'm sure a lot of guys dropped off, but we found a good rhythm the first lap, and we were getting great time splits from our crew. They did an amazing job following the live feed from the Mint, and they were able to tell us that we were within 2 minutes of Brandon and or 3 minutes of Brandon and 2 minutes of Jake. And
just
so
to
we
kind
just
of
wanted
keep
to stay
pace,
that
or
way.
did they want you to turn it up?
No, our plan was to keep pace. That was all we wanted to do. I mean, we've been doing a really good job of not finishing. So our goal was to save the car as much as we could, but not let anybody get away from us. And so we really tried to follow that. It's hard sometimes because you really want to put your foot in it and try and win. But
especially when it feels good.
We felt that winning was, maybe the best way to win was to keep the car together. So that's kind of what we were trying to do the whole time.
Do you know what the time difference was to you and Brandon at the end?
At the end,
I
can't tell you exactly, but it's about 16 to 20 minutes, somewhere in that range.
Yeah,
we let him
that
go.
would have been hard to make up that much time. That's a pretty good. He was probably hauling the mail.
That was not going to happen in the last. Yeah, it wasn't going to happen in the last lap. We let him go, I would say 3 to 4 minutes per lap, and then by the time we were really just hoping he was going to break. He checked out. There was no way we were going to keep up with him, but we were having a great time trying to stay with Jake. And that was always close. We'd swap spots. He'd get fuel. We'd get ahead of him. We'd get fuel. He'd get ahead of us. It was always within
Love
a
that
couple
kind of
of
racing.
minutes.
Yeah, and you're
awesome.
buddies with Jake too, so that's probably nice. He's probably saying the same thing.
We were actually testing with him in Parker the weekend before, and just joking back and forth. Don't hit me too hard. No, you don't hit me too hard. No, it's all good.
Dude, that's awesome, man.
I'll tell you one thing. In our first lap, we were coming in in the last 20 miles or so. We're clicking along, and I'm like, Jeff, you smell something burning? And I swear I smelled something electrical and maybe some plastic. And I'm like, is that somebody ahead of us or is it us? And he's just like, I think it's us. I smell it too. And he's like, oh man, I'm smelling it worse. And I'm thinking we're on fire. And I just can't see it. Yeah, and I'm like, Jeff, I ain't stopping, bro, because that fire's going to catch us if I stop. Yeah. We're just going to keep going. And he pulled his belts off, flipped around in the car, looked behind us, looking for fire.
Nothing?
As we're racing. Yeah, he's holding his head off the ceiling to keep from bouncing around. We're going through rough stuff, just trying to hold on.
Dang.
He's like, I don't see anything, man. I don't see any fire at all. And right when he said that, my helmet filled with smoke.
Oh shit!
And I had to pop the visor to see. And he's like, I don't see it anywhere except coming out your freaking visor. Well, what happened was the clean air system motor for the Parker pumper fried.
Oh, it's like
and it just filled the helmets. That's all it did. We weren't on fire at all. It was just, I felt like Ricky Bobby rolling around on the track.
So it wasn't a grocery bag on the freeway.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, let's go, man. Get your belt back on. We never stopped. So that was lucky that we didn't. Honestly, maybe not the smartest thing, but we did it anyway.
Did you guys just ditch your pumper or ditch the hoses?
No. So it stopped. Within a few minutes, it stopped smoking, and he had his own Parker for his helmet, and I have one for mine, but they're next to each other. So when mine smoked, some of it went into his helmet.
Oh, I got you.
So he actually still had a clean air, and I didn't. So I had to run the whole race, or the whole rest of the race, with no clean air and the visor cracked, which that just turned into, mud boogers on your eyes and coughing it up.
Well, there's
a lot of people to pass.
Good on you for persevering through that, man. That sucks. I hate when you have to do something like that. That's hilarious. So were you guys talking like Ricky Bobby when you're going through? I'm on fire.
100%. Yeah, man. I'm like, I know I'm on fire. I freaking know it. Don't tell me I'm not.
Man, did that send like the pit in the stomach? Because I'm as you're walking through this, you had a plan for your race, right? You're like, okay, we're going to finish. We're going to get a good pace and just stay in there, be consistent, and it's working, right? You're doing well, swapping positions there, and then all of a sudden, like, you're like, sweet, we're doing good, and then that pit in your stomach comes. It has to. You're like, oh no, we're on fire. I can
100%.
Yeah, I can almost put myself there and feel that, like, oh no, a letdown.
Oh yeah, I mean, it's not even a pit in your stomach. I mean, your stomach falls right out the bottom.
Right.
It's to think that it's over, but got super lucky there. But I tried to later on in the end of the second lap. It starts to get dark, and we go onto the lake bed, and we're following a 4-wheel drive truck, something that was throwing up a ton of dust, and there was no wind. It wasn't going anywhere. So I tried going kind of to the right of the dust to see around it, and it wasn't working. So I started to go to the left of his dust as we're coming up to him to see around him. And just as we go to the left of him, he makes an abrupt, like, right-hand turn.
Oh, no.
And which goes away from us, right, which is awesome. The problem is his dust cleared away for us to see what he was turning away from. He got off course, and we followed him. And he was turning away to get away from a 3-foot-tall berm that was kind of like a water retention basin that they had made in the middle of the lake bed.
Oh, shit.
On the left-hand side of the lake bed. Yeah, so we're doing 80, 85, and full 4-tire locked up, brakes sliding sideways into this 3-foot berm. And just before we hit it, kind of lifted the brakes and drove straight over it. We probably went over it 45. And in the air, all we saw was mud and water. We didn't know if it was 10 feet deep, we're going underwater, or an inch deep or what. And we hit that thing, man, and we had 100 pounds of mud came in the car.
Oh, man.
Water everywhere, soaked everything, and we flew out the other side and ended up on the lake bed again.
But you put the fire out.
And we're kind of wiping mud out of our eyes. Well, remember, I didn't have a Parker pumper, so I had my visor cracked. It all shot mud up in my face.
Nice.
Yeah, and I'm trying to wipe the crap out of my eyes, and I'm like, where are we at? Where are we at? He's like, well, you're kind of back on course. We ended up passing that truck through the water.
No way. Perfect.
Yeah.
You got lucky. You got one of those free spa days, the mud days for your skin.
Imagine what the truck dude's saying. Like, these guys are nuts.
Mulligan. That was a race ender.
That's great. Yeah, the truck guy. He's like, look at these guys.
He had a front row seat. All he had to do was look out his left window, and we went underwater right next to him.
I bet he's got some stories to tell for for a while now.
I want to look him up. I bet he's got it on video. It's going to be great to see. But
that's good, though, that you guys persevered through that, though, too, because I hate when stuff like that pops up on you and you're like, shit, man, and then it kind of disrupts your concentration, too, and then you're like, okay, I got to focus.
Disrupt. Oh, man. Talk about getting slapped in the face. I thought we were underwater.
That's pretty awesome.
Lawn darting in the mud.
Those are two pretty good stories already. That was lap 1, both of those? The fire and the mud?
So lap 1, then lap 2.
Oh, okay.
So let's just fast forward. We're in lap 3, and we're basically just pacing everything. Brandon's got about 12 minutes on us. We're not even trying to catch him, but we're going back and forth with Jake. And it literally is back and forth. We were ahead of him by about 5 minutes, so we were in second place, lap 3, and trying to pass all lap traffic, which not necessarily people in our class, but 1,600 cars and 6 trucks and stuff like that that were starting behind us.
Yep.
Yeah, and at night the wind went away and all the dust settled and wouldn't move. So we're going through the dust, and I was pushing way too hard in the dust and smacked a rock that the truck we were about to pass kind of drove around, and we didn't see it. And I'm like, man, I hope that isn't a flat. Well, like 5 must have been a slow leaker, because 5 miles later it started going. And we were just trying to get to pit B and have them change it. But we were 5 miles away. So we stopped, changed tire, did as quick as we could. But as we got back inside the car and we're throwing the window nets back on, Jake was flying by.
Oh, man.
Dang it.
Yeah, I'm like, there's seconds, and now we're third. So we get back on, and we're going. And we didn't get the spare tire, the flat one, back tight enough, or strapped down tight enough. You can hear it banging around through the whoops. We pull into the pits, and they're like, we lost the jack, which was on top of the tire.
Oh, man.
So now we got a spare tire with air in it, but we have no jack. So we're really trying to be nice to the car and not hit anything, get flats or anything. So we finished off lap 3, staying with Jake within 4 or 5 minutes. And then on lap 4, we pretty much stayed there also. We decided that if Brandon and Jake we're first and second, I mean, that's pretty much a win for us too, because all our stuff's all over it and they're friends.
Awesome.
So we just didn't want to run it very hard and possibly get a flat we can't change. So we just kind of stayed there. And it was a pace we could control and did it. And get to the end of lap 4, and we're 15 miles from the finish. And we came up to a line of 11 bugs in a 1600, and they're all going slow. So, yeah. And so we kind of worked our way through them, which took a while because it was single track.
Mm-hmm.
And by the time we get around the last bug, there's somebody in our mirror, and we pulled over to let him go, and it was Mitch Guthrie.
Oh,
no. He is going hair.
Oh, no.
His hair is on fire, like hauling ass. He has zero regard for that car. He is flying over stuff you should be. I mean, he hated the car at that moment. That's what it looked like. And so me and Jeff were like, damn it, that's the podium. We can't let him go. So, but he had started 2 rows ahead of us, so we knew we had 2 minutes on him. He had to beat us by 2 minutes and a second
right.
to
so
get
just
third.
keep him in. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, so we picked up the pace, and we stayed right on his dust for the last 15 miles and paced him as best we could. And when we came in, he crossed finish line, I mean, literally like 100 yards ahead of us, maybe 25 seconds ahead.
Oh,
so we knew we had third.
Nice.
And we were just, I can't even tell you, I mean, there's probably not a volume setting on the intercom when we crossed finish line. I'm like, I knew we had it. We're just cheering and high-fiving.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they line us up. They let you sit there for 20 minutes so they can didn't go to bed. Really? Just having a good time. And then we saw the results were changed where we had 4th and Dustin Jones got 3rd. So the wind kind of got let out of our sails. And didn't know why, but I'll tell you this. The Martellis had done a very good job. I mean, people can say it was run one way or the other. I thought they did a great job for their first time. And Josh Martelli called me personally on Sunday, and he was at the awards banquet, and he's like, man, I just want to tell you personally what happened. And what had happened is that Dustin Jones' tracker never worked from the start of the race. And so our guys are looking at the live feed, and Dustin's not even on it.
But that's
and
not
so
an
we were
uncommon
making
thing.
pace judgments.
Right.
That happens, yeah.
Oh, it happens, and there's nothing you can do about it. And our pace was judged on what we could see, so there was nothing that we could have done either. I'm just glad that if our spot was going to get switched around in any way, I'm super happy that it went to Dustin because number one, he drove his ass off to get there. Number 2, he's a really cool dude, and I'm glad he got it.
Wait, the main picture is, or the main question is, did you guys get pictures of you guys on the podium? Because that's what counts.
Yeah.
Yeah, we did. We have
Sweet.
us saying
just
saying
use that.
3, right? So if nobody else looks at the real results, we could probably say we were 3rd like years from now.
Yeah,
Nice.
well, and if Dustin ever comes up to you and says, I beat you, you'd be like, please, son, I got all the proof right here.
Right. Well, you have better stories too. I can hear it now. In 20 years. Yeah, the grocery bag came up, and then we went subterranean, and then I don't know, what did we get, 3rd or something? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, weird. It just happened that way, muddy and everything.
That's awesome.
Well, I mean, in the bigger picture, we're super excited about the race because our parts won every single car top 5, and I don't want to leave guys out. We probably had our parts on 60 cars that were in the race. And there's probably a couple of guys right behind us that had all our stuff on it, but awesome. It's easy for us to say that we top 5'd it with product. Yeah. And really happy to help those guys and happy that they did an amazing job. Honestly, Brandon put on a clinic. He took off and it was a super fast pace he put together. And we just had a ton of fun trying to keep it Jake.
Well, I know you're trying to stay humble and it's your company and stuff, but you got to really look at it from a different perspective. I mean, even in Supercross and motocross, Pro Circuit is on a lot of bikes, but not all of them. Shock Therapy is on almost every single car, and you guys did a fantastic job, so you should be really proud of yourself and your team, all the guys at the shop, everybody, man, for being such an influencer in the sport and helping so many people. We got to get going, though.
Hey, thank you guys for taking a minute and listening to our stupid race stories.
No, I love it. I totally awesome. I pictured myself in there with the little fire, and then I'm serious, and then the water and the dude in the truck looking at you. That's
one
awesome.
Of these days we'll get Casey out to the race and have him come hang out with us, Justin. That'll be cool.
Definitely.
Hey, come out to one of our tests, man. Hop in the car and go for a lap. You like it.
Be awesome.
All right, bud. Thanks so much for calling in. We really appreciate it, dude.
Have a good night, guys.
Congratulations.
Great
Thanks,
talking
Justin.
All right, bye-bye.
All right, we are going to take a quick commercial break because we have Jessy Nelson coming on the line in just a few minutes here. So, quick commercial break from our sponsors, and we will be right back. Zollinger Racing builds the best aftermarket products available. Products for your UTV or snowmobile, including billet radius rods, billet tie rods, billet steering knuckles, billet steering racks, alternator kits, and much more. All manufactured in the United States in-house at their headquarters in Nibley, Utah. Travis Zollinger and his team test in some of the most brutal conditions, racing in places like the Best in the Desert Mint 400, Ultra 4 King of the Hammers, UTV World Championships, and many more. Visit ZollingerRacingProducts.com and use the code DIRTLIFE to get 10% off your next purchase, and join us on social media at Zollinger Racing Products to see our products in action. Zollinger Racing, the best products, period. Yeah, finally, we got Lance from Solderweld in the studio. Thanks for coming down, bud. Hey, why don't we just record a commercial now?
Yeah, why not? So good to be here, man. It's been a lot. I've been trying to get down here forever, and I wanted to talk about the off-road kit.
Dude, I love those things. I got it in my pack.
Yeah, we're running hundreds of vehicles now running them, whether it's a UTV or some guy's got it in a backpack on his motocross. He's got everything he needs to make a fix right there on the fly, out on the trail, or in the desert, whatever it is.
Well, since I've already used one, I kind of know what to use it for, but explain what it does.
All right, so let's pull one out real quick. You've got your aluminum rods. Remember, they're rods, right? So, light torch, small torch, you can throw it in there or throw it on the rig with your flux. It decontaminates and cleans like let's say a radiator. You get a random rock chip runs through as you're racing. You get a rock chip in a radiator. You got to fix it right there, or you're out of the race.
You can patch it up
You can patch it up. It's all good to go.
Yep, just like welding.
Yeah. Also, as well with that, you've got a brake line fix. So with your flux, you can fix a brake line, stainless steel. And then your hot block, heat absorption putty. So it keeps you from getting burned, number one, as well as keeps the heat from traveling. So it's really nice.
I've used this not even to fix anything, so that stuff works so good, man.
Listen, it's easy. It straps in nicely so that you have everything you need in one little place, and you don't have to carry a big bag in
it's
the
It's like a first
truck.
aid kit for your vehicle.
Yeah, Chase trucks have it as well, so that if they need to make a fix on the fly, they can get it done and get it done quick and get you back in the race.
Dude, those things are so cool. All right, so it's at Solderweld on Instagram, Facebook, and solderweld.com.
Awesome.
All right, thanks, bud.
Appreciate it.
Hello, I'm Justin, the founder of Shock Therapy. Shock Therapy has been around for 5 years, but we have personally been tuning suspension on off-road cars and race vehicles for over 25 years. We tune between 10 and 15 cars per day, every single day of the week. Our concentration is tuning shock systems and supplying components that improve the ride quality of your car in many ways. Not only do we work on the average UTV, but we also tune suspension for race teams and professional drivers. We currently tune for over 87 race teams in Best in the Desert and SCORE. Our clients and race teams rely on our suspension components to allow them to win races and keep them safe. Suspension is a moving target. We are always trying to hit that target with every customer that we work with. Each customer's needs can be different, and we tune our kits accordingly. Our research and development never stops. We improve our components every single day. As the industry evolves and improves, so do our parts and kits. As of right now, we have over 100 products for UTVs. So when you bring your car to us, you have the satisfaction of knowing that you have the most experience, the highest quality products, and the fact that your car is being tuned specifically to you.
Take a couple seconds.
got it. Good.
Yeah. We are back. And we have our featured guest, Jessy Nelson, coming on the show. You can see him in the back, but I want to introduce him. He's got a lot of credentials, man. He is a multi-time amateur dirt bike racing champion. He's done a lot of really cool racing in his life, actually. He's regarded as one of the top professional motocross racers to enter Supercross and motocross. He was, like I said, a very, very awesome amateur athlete. He's shown a lot of strength, a lot of humility, and just done a lot of good things. And two of the big races that he's won, he won the Anaheim opener in, 2015, and he's also won the motocross GP at Glen Helen, which is a fantastic race. He was shredding that day, just wide open. He's done many things in the motocross world, but now, unfortunately, he was injured in 2016 at the Unadilla National, paralyzed him, and he had to switch gears. And now he's racing side-by-sides and doing very, very well. He took a lot of the things that he learned in motocross. He's transitioning over to side-by-sides. He's doing it his own way. He's doing it a motocross way, and he's doing very, very well. So we would like to welcome Jessy Nelson. What's up, Jessy?
Hey, guys. Thanks for having me on. I appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for coming.
Yeah, thank you very much for joining us, dude. We really appreciate you taking the time out of your busy schedule. I know you got a lot going on.
Yeah, I've been pretty busy the last couple weeks. I've got a lot of projects going on and a bunch of different things. I'm just trying to keep this whole racing thing going, too. I've been swamped with that. I mean, it's not like changing the sprocket and the clutch in a dirt bike. It's still a lot of work, and I'm learning the hard way. But it's been fun, cool learning curve, and just a lot of adversity, I'd say, which is figuring everything out. It's a big difference.
Yeah, instead of just being the rider, you got to almost run your own program, right?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I got spoiled the last 7 years racing professionally, 7-8 years or whatever. And then being on a race team as well and having, a mechanic there full time, a trainer, team manager, crew chief, technical guy, suspension guy, all at your fingertips. And you don't really, think about it as much when you're doing it because it's just like, that's how it's been.
Yeah.
And then now, just even after I got hurt and then being in a chair, it's a lot harder to work on stuff and doing it all myself. It's been a real challenge. So learning and figuring it out. I got some great people behind me and just working hard at it. And, you take those things for granted too. Sometimes I think when I was back racing motocross too, just showing up at the races off a plane and your gear's already there, your helmet's already prepped, you got brand new gear, goggles, everything you need. And then it's just a big difference.
Yeah, it's starting from the bottom, working your way to the top, but you already know how to do that, man. That's a good learning curve, though. I respect anybody that sticks with it because, you have to have, a lot of, what do you want to call it, gumption to be able to, go through this process. Most people in Jesse's position, let alone his injury, would have already just bailed out and be like, nah, fuck it, it's too much work. I'm over it. But he's putting in the effort, and he's doing it more than most.
Yeah, I've been trying my hardest, man. But it's crazy too. Just I raced my first pro race last weekend, and there's a few things I need to do to the car definitely make it better. I think a steering quickener would help me out. I have one. I just need to get it put in really, and maybe a better brake system. Just things I feel like my ability's there. It's just I feel like I'm a little bit held back. Not my hand controls are really good. Mark Holst built those. He did a great job, and the engineering aspect of it is, phenomenal. But there's just a few things I think could be a lot better where I'm oversteering a lot. I'm kind of not really braking where I want to, and I kind of just got to overcompensate for things. And I'm doing the best I can with it, but it's if I had things just cherry, it'd be a lot better. And unfortunately, broke an axle last weekend as well. And I think putting them on with the Makita a little bit too tight, I think I might weaken them. But hey, there you go. It's learning. It's probably my 8th time racing a side by side and doing it solo on my own. So I feel like it's going all right. I just, those learning curves and things like that are just, the growing pains. But I didn't become a, professional motocross racer overnight. I mean, that took 15 years for me to get there,
Yep, absolutely. And you're obviously willing to put in the work to be able to be a professional side-by-side racer too. It's crazy that that you're going through the whole process. Like, it makes me feel like I went through all the same shit too. And like, I had people that were helping me just like you do with, like Craig Scanlon and a few other people, which is really cool. Well, let's try to take a step back real quick. So for our audience that doesn't know who you are, where did you grow up, man?
Well, I grew up in San Luis Obispo County, just north of Santa Barbara, probably like an hour and a half or so, in a small town called Templeton. 4,000 or 5,000 people in my town, and grew up riding, and then eventually just started getting into the racing thing, and kind of where every kid wants to go is they have a motorcycle and they want to race that thing against their buddies and whatnot. And I had some kids at school that were starting to race and things like that, and saw some local fair races, and I was like, that's what I want to do. And then the short story, it just kind of escalated from there. And then I started, next thing you know, we're driving from north or Central California down to SoCal to up north and racing all over. And it was just like, that's what you got to do, is travel to race, the better guys in your class and go chase where the good guys are. And that's how you pick up on it. And I would have liked to go and race some of the lower classes and maybe try to win a championship in like the works thing or whatever, but I don't think it has a lot of the same value as it does going and racing a tougher class.
Yep.
Which, don't get me wrong, those guys are great in that class, and those dudes are going fast, but I felt like I would maybe learn a little bit more aggression and a little bit more racecraft from the pro class. And so that's why I kind of made the decision to go up.
Yeah, that's super cool, man. It sounds like a lot of the similar things that you and I went through, Case, when we were growing up too. We were in a small town, dirt roads, the whole deal, just kind of going out riding, having fun, and then we would travel to bigger cities and go race and stuff. And obviously, sometimes we'd go to amateur nationals if we could afford it, but it sounds pretty similar.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, back to the dirt road thing. When I was a kid, I lived at the end of a 2.5 mile dirt road, so I know all about it.
Yeah, that was your dirt life.
Yeah, exactly. I grew up on 46 acres, and we had property to ride on, and I just grew up doing that whole ranch lifestyle kind of deal.
Did you have any siblings growing up?
Yeah, I have my brother, and I have 2 stepsisters as well. My older brother, he's not really into riding. He's actually pretty talented though when it comes to like hopping on a dirt bike after not riding for 5 years, and he goes rip some trails and then calls it good for another 4 years. But
did they go with you like to the amateur nationals and stuff? Because you guys did quite a bit of amateur nationals and dirt bikes, right?
Yeah, everything from Mammoth to Mini O's in Florida to Loretta's in Tennessee, and then we were racing in Georgia and Utah and just everywhere, honestly. And mainly just my brother would go. And it was a fun family thing, bring the motor home and camp out. And I mean, it was a lot of work. I mean, now like running my own kind of program, I'd say, and being a little bit older, I'm 25 now, and just seeing how much it takes to get to the races and like the money and the effort and everything. I'm baffled by how my parents did it. And like, I think a lot of these kids going to the races and stuff and showing up, and their dad's there prepping all their stuff and everything, and like they don't know how good they have it until it's gone.
Dude, 100%.
Yeah, you got to throw it to those popses. You got to give them some props.
Our dads, Jesse's dad, everybody.
Yeah,
man.
I think because we obviously know. I mean, you're experiencing it, the frustration and the hard work, and they put their head down and do it for you.
Yeah, when you go home, awesome. When you go home and you do shitty, there's no worse drive.
Yeah, no words spoken.
Yeah, they just took a week off work to do an amateur national, and you sucked all week.
Right.
My parents never really got upset at me. They didn't really push me or anything like that, but I felt bad. And it was like, man, what a waste of a week and a half. You got to be in Texas or Tennessee. You got to drive 4 days just to get there.
I know, dude. I broke my tailbone at Loretta's like second moto, and I had to like just go back and like ride home all the way with a broken tailbone. I was like, I feel like such a pussy, man. Like
Oh yeah, I've done that. I blew my shoulder out in practice one year, and I was done.
Oh man, so you didn't even get to race the whole race?
Nope.
Fuck.
Didn't do anything.
That sucks. I at least got my claim to Loretta's fame. I think I got like a top 5 the first moto, but the second moto, it was the B class, and I got like a pretty mid-pack start. So I flipped over and I broke my tailbone, and then like literally the rest of the crew, like when you're in the B class, there's like 10 dudes that are good, and then the rest of them are like semi-good riders. Every single one of those semi-good riders ran me over. Like literally every single one of them when I was sitting there.
Nice.
B class though, it's tough at Loretta's. I mean, those guys are fast, and it's the best of the best right there.
Yeah, it was good. I mean, like I wasn't ever to the point where you were. Like Casey and I made Supercross mains and stuff like that, but not like what you were doing, dude. Like we never got an Anaheim 1 win under our belt.
Shows, not
I should have had a few more. Had a few more, but I threw away a lot. Like Anaheim 2 that same year, I was out front, I think by like 8 seconds, and I think I had like 3 laps to go, and I freaking wadded it up and got like 6. That one stings pretty bad. There's a whole list of them, man. I don't know. Sometimes just couldn't put it together.
When you look back on your career, though, I mean, you got to still be pretty stoked, dude.
No, yeah. I mean, everything from the amateur scene too. I mean, I won over 100 amateur titles in my, amateur days of racing, and I felt like that helped build me up quite a bit into like what I am today. And I had a few years where like the transition from amateur to professional racing, especially in Supercross or motocross, it's a huge, gap, which is kind of left in the blind side, I feel like, where, you can only try so hard to be prepared for it, but you never are. At least at that time. Now it's changed a lot. You got race teams that are pumping kids up at 15 and pushing them up through the ranks, which it's changed a lot. And I think, a lot of the other guys too are starting to see that, and they know what they need to do, and they're spending a lot of time around the race team. I mean, it's a huge difference between the two, but they're doing well in bridging that gap.
Yeah, I've definitely seen that. It's definitely been improved. What kind of things, like when you were little, you obviously go to all the amateur events and stuff, but what kind of things did you guys do for fun? Did you hang out with your brother and do other fun stuff, or what were you into?
Oh, my brother and I were always doing something. We're shooting guns, or we're fishing, or just trying to blow stuff up. I don't know. We were just always, things that you do on a ranch when you don't have a lot of people around. Yeah. You bring your buddies out, or like we get everybody on like quads, and we play paintball on like ranch quads.
Nice.
That sounds like fun.
Yeah, everybody get a paintball gun, and all of our buddies had ranch quads and stuff. So you just pile like a bunch of paintballs on like the rack on the front, and then cruise around. Dude,
that's awesome. We had just 2 people chime in, and then Mike Gardner said you're a legend, and Caden Danbury says you're the man. So that's pretty cool to see that you're already garnering some side-by-side respect.
Oh, yeah, I wish Gardner would come out and race with us. I could learn something from him. But
dude, fuck that. You wish he could do paintball quads with you.
Right.
I don't want him to hurt his sciatica, so I don't think he'd make it out there. Maybe Caden would do it. Caden's he's not scared to get hurt.
Yeah, that would be pretty cool.
Did any of you guys follow Caden Danbury?
Yeah, definitely. Caden was on the show a couple months back.
Oh, right on. He's a good kid. Did you see his Instagram video today?
No, I didn't. Is it pretty cool?
It's not cool. It's pretty funny. But he's coming out. He's coming out of his front yard on his bicycle, and he falls down the step and eats shit.
Oh, Caden, I hope you're okay, bud.
Sorry to laugh at you, Caden, but that was pretty funny.
You gotta catch it. He's gonna get way more followers because of that video. That's for sure.
For sure.
Oh yeah.
Oh, he put Ryder down.
But he Ryder down, yeah. But that's also another thing too about the whole side-by-side community and the people that are in it. I believe, I don't know, a lot of them are, I'm sure there's some not so good people out there, but I've yet to meet one, and everybody's been so nice and and cool. And I think that's a huge difference too, because like with motocross and dirt bikes, it's very cutthroat.
Yeah.
Families don't want to talk to you if you blew a clutch out. Like, nobody's going to help you. Like, they're going to be like, no, like, we're going to Loretta's. Like, you're going to have to go to another qualifier. Screw you, kind of deal. Like, not everybody's like that. There's good people out there too, but everybody's driving or riding different motorcycles too. So a lot of the parts don't work the same. And I mean, I'd say 90% of the field is Polaris out there, and a lot of people are there to help too. They're like, oh, we got a whole extra clutch, and here's a radius rod, here's an axle, like, what do you need? And they're there to help you, and you're like, I'm racing you tomorrow, like, you don't need to do this, thank you.
Yeah, it is pretty cool. We noticed that too a lot when we first started getting into it. Like, I was, part of the Rockstar Energy UTV Wolfpack guys, Jason and Jeremy Merrill, and they kind of took me under their wing and helped me out, and it was just cool to see all the camaraderie, man. Like, I couldn't believe it. Like, I was kind of like you. I was like, oh, these motocross guys, like, or these side-by-side guys, they're going to hate me, and they're not going to want to deal with me, and, like, all this stuff. And, like, I did, like, just like you, I did pretty well out the gate in the side-by-side stuff, and I was like, shit, man. Like, but everybody was so awesome.
This is also why this is growing, I believe. Part of it.
The sport itself?
Yeah,
I agree.
Yep.
Absolutely. I mean, just the way that people kind of carry themselves, and everybody's so nice, and it makes you want to go to the races and hang out. And even like the Gonzalez and the Grooms and those people, they're always barbecuing. Hey, you guys want food? You want this? Like, what can we? You need anything? Like, everybody's just genuine people. It's rare to see that in racing, and that's why I love work so much too. And even the people at the sign-ups too, they're just nice people, and it's a fun event and good atmosphere to be a part of.
Yeah, Lucretia just chimed in and she said the side-by-side community is the best. I agree with her. Well, we just had a question from Alfonso. He said, what did you like more, or maybe get more nervous for, was lining up for a side-by-side race or lining up for a motocross race?
Honestly, a lot of the same nerves are still there. It's for me, the side-by-side thing is so new that I feel like I almost get more nervous at that, because I still have not nerfed anybody. I still haven't like done any like crazy block passes. I haven't had like a tangle on a start yet. Like, I'm so green to all of it, and I don't know what could happen. Like, motorcycles, you learn from very quick and very abruptly what's going to happen and how it's going to go. You know what I mean? To where the side-by-side thing is just like, so I don't know, it doesn't happen as frequent, and I feel like the learning curve's a little slower. But,
dude, but when you wad it up in a side-by-side, it does not feel good.
Oh, thanks.
No, I'm just saying from experience. Like, if I could have took it a little bit slower when I first started racing, I would have definitely gone a little bit slower pace and worked my way up. Like, I just went too guns blazing. Like, that was a huge problem for me. Like, I wadded it up way too many times.
Yeah, I was already coming off an injury and being put in a chair, which is a big difference for me. So I was like, I was very hesitant, and like, honestly, it's changed my mentality and like my personality a lot too, because like, I was never that way where I had an on-off switch and that was it. When I was racing dirt bikes, I'd either throw down the fastest lap time or the next lap I'd weed it up. Like, it was just super inconsistent. Or some days I'd be smooth and throw down a bunch of them, but I just wanted to go fast, I'd say. And now I'm kind of like a little more calculated, because I'm like, man, I don't want anything stupid to happen. I don't want to, and a lot of the parts on my car are not given to me, so if I weed that thing up, I got to go buy them. So that's another thing that crosses my mind when I'm out there.
You don't have the KTM support or the mom and dad support like you did when you were little. Well, you have faced some pretty big adversity in your life so far. When you were, younger, you got your hand caught in the chain of the motorcycle, right?
Yeah, I lost my left thumb right there.
That's so gnarly, man. How was that for being a little kid and having? I mean, you've had to get this question all the time, but was it pretty gnarly when you were little?
Yeah, it was really tough. I mean, that took me a long time to get over, and but within I don't know, I'd say 6 months, I was racing Loretta qualifiers, and I went and raced Loretta's that year, and I think I ended up 5th.
I always wondered how you did that. Did you put like a little rubber thumb in there or something to kind of hold on the grip?
Yeah, exactly. I didn't really need it for necessarily grip strength. It was more for like coming down hills or into braking bumps if I didn't like slip my hand off or something or I'm getting tired. But it couldn't be locked onto my grip because then if I would have needed to like, if I'm endoing something I need to bail off, I wouldn't be able to get away from the bike, you know?
Yeah, makes sense. That's Mike Gardner said he would have cried.
Oh my God, we'd still be hearing about it.
But
that's another thing too, is like looking back at racing too, like when I turned professional and I watch the races and hear Jason Wygant talk about Zach Osborne getting exiled to go race in Europe, and you hear it 15 times in one race, and then all the years that I was racing, I never had, like, I don't even think I was at that was ever mentioned about me losing a thumb or not having one. And I was the only guy out there racing with any sort of amputee, but I never got it mentioned.
Is it because you didn't complain, or is it because it was just them not doing their job? You don't have a light or anything in your car that you could turn on so we could see you better, do you?
Dude, that's all hey, my windows, sorry. But looking back, I mean, maybe I should have tried to play it a little harder. I would have got a little more, media love or something. But that's not really my style. I'd rather go and let my riding or my racing, speak for itself, or the person that I am,
Yeah, actions speak louder than words. That's for sure. I live by that definitely too. So
yeah, but to the other side of that coin is that nobody needed to say anything because you were freaking tearing it up. You know what I mean? Like maybe the average guy has no idea, or fan has no idea that you were dealing that without a thumb. That's like impressive. You know what I mean? So maybe there is a positive to it.
That is pretty fucking awesome.
Yeah, there'd be times where I'd be at an autograph signing and they'd be like, "Oh, what's up with hand?" I'd be like, "Oh, you never heard about that?" They're like, "No, never." And I was fine with it, but then like after I get hurt and then I watch some of the old races and I like kind of thinking about it, I'm like, dude, it's kind of weird that nobody ever even like said anything about it.
Yeah. I get that same kind of stuff now. Like when I walk around and I have pants on, I'm not in a wheelchair, but I walk around like a penguin and stuff. Like you really don't, like, people don't judge you as much. They don't really know what's going on.
Yeah, which, I mean, I don't want anybody to have like sympathy over me or anything, but it's like, I don't know. I felt like I did a lot with what I had,
Dude, 100%. You should definitely be proud of yourself for all the stuff that you've done. And we're going to get into it in just a second here, but you should be proud of yourself for the stuff that you're working on now, too. Well, so you faced some adversity when you were young. And one of the things that I like to talk about on the show is I really like to, I mean, a lot of people know you racing motocross and stuff and racing supercross, but I really like to see if we can understand your dirt life, your life, and what kind of stuff did that really teach you being a young kid and going through all that shit? You got to be like, man, like, why me? And then all of a sudden you're like, okay, I got to switch my brain around. Like, I need to just do it and live my life.
Yeah, and I think exactly what you just said. I think the thumb deal and, breaking so many bones and having so much adversity and so many setbacks that it kind of prepared me for where I was today and the things that I've gone through, where it was like, yeah, it sucks in the moment. It's super shitty. And like, you feel like everything's out to get you kind of deal, but it'll all eventually blow over. Like, no matter what, it's going to blow over and things are going to turn around in some shape or form. Not going to say that I'm happy with the full outcome, but, it's all temporary. I'd say your mindset and saw how you look at it, really.
Dude, the mindset is 100%. Yeah, I mean, like, huge. we could be totally normal dudes walking around, like with awesome legs and awesome, no broken bones, and we would still want more. Maybe we want to have a better job. Maybe we would want to be on the top of the podium. We always want more, right? So it's like, I know that one thing that you said that helped you a lot, and in my case, is I had a huge support mechanism. You, when did you meet your wife?
Sorry, I met my wife probably a year before I got hurt.
And where'd you meet her at?
We met at we met online. I'll just say that. Well, I met her from Instagram. I slid her into her DMs, and she was a little adamant at first, but I stayed persistent and just kept pushing through. Finally got a date with her after 3-4 months.
Dang, dude, persevere.
Yeah, I pushed pretty hard, and finally got a date with her at the Lazy Dog in Temecula, and then we just hit it off. And I don't know, maybe our third date, I called my mom and I was like, yeah, I'm for sure gonna marry this girl.
Dude, how rad is that?
That's awesome.
Well, the reason that I brought her up was because you had mentioned a couple times in stories that I've heard you talk about, and she was a huge support mechanism for you in the current injury that you have, right?
Oh, absolutely. She's been there for everything, and she's been unfazed by all of it, which is extraordinary. And I don't know. I don't feel like I don't ever try to play a sympathy card or anything like that, or like I try to be pretty independent and doing everything like my own deal, and she does hers. So I never want to be like, I don't know, like a hinder to her. I mean, I'm not going to go take her on a hike or anything, but she's got friends for that.
Yeah, but you can still do as much as you can, and obviously that works out for her because she loves you. I mean, it's pretty clear. So the reason I brought that up was because everybody that goes through it, faces adversity, they deserve to have some sort of support mechanism. Some people don't get it, some people do, and it makes things a lot easier when you do have a good support mechanism. Family, friends, all that stuff. And you got hurt in 2016 racing professional motocross at Unadilla in New York. And
yeah.
How was that day? I mean, obviously she supported you.
Yeah, she flew out. She was there, I think, within 2 days or a day. But yeah, that was a really tough part of my life. I was just, honestly, like, I kept thinking that it was just going to be like a stinger or something where, like, I'm like, all right, 48 hours is going to come around. I'm going to get all my feeling back, all my movement back. Everything's going to come back. And it just slowly, like, days kept going on and on and on. And I'm like, shit, like, it's not really, like, turning around. Like, I'm starting to get feeling, but I'm not really getting any movement. And it's starting to really freak me out. And at the beginning, I was super freaked out. But I think emotionally, I was more broken because I knew my racing career was over.
Yeah,
and like that was a tough pill to swallow, which I know a lot of the other guys racing or whatever, I know side-by-sides haven't been around as long, and so when they say they've been racing a long time and when they decide to quit racing or whatever, how hard it was or whatever, but I think it's a little bit different. Like I started racing when I was 7 years old, and
it's like a lifetime.
Doing that my entire life.
It really is.
Yep, a lifetime.
And it's such a hard sport to excel at. People don't realize how mental, how physical, and how tough it really is. And skill level too is just through the roof. Like, I mean, I know it's tough, like really, really tough. And it doesn't just happen. You can't just go sign up and race pro class. You can't, like, it just doesn't work that way. And
anybody who can make it to the level, even half the level that Jessy made it to, deserves a lot of credit. So for him to say something like that, that's pretty humble. Just knowing that he put that much effort into it to get to the top level, to win at the top professional level. I mean, it's pretty amazing. So I can only imagine, when I know what I felt like when I was laying on the ground, yeah. I can only imagine what he felt like.
Yeah, and it was just like I was finally getting to a program and figuring out my body and where my heart rates need to be and what kind of diet I needed to be on and what kind of rest program I need to be on and what kind of cardio program, strength program. And I started finally going to the races where I was like, all right, if I'm not first or second or third, like,
all right,
go for it.
What was that?
I was just telling Craig to hang on 1 second so you can finish your story.
Oh, I was going to the races knowing that I could be on the podium every weekend, which I always knew I could get there, but sometimes it was like, all right, yeah, I'm not feeling the best this weekend. Like, let's hope for a top 5. But I was going there knowing like I was going to be a podium guy, and if I wasn't, I was going to be pissed.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then laying there in the dirt, and I'm just like, wow, like it's over that quick. And like, honestly, that was a really tough one of just all those years. I mean, I can't even count how many miles we've driven across country and how many hours and nights and, you know, days I've spent at tracks all across the U.S. and training my ass off for years to get to that point. And then it's just gone in an instant. And you're just like,
it really puts
damn.
your life into perspective, doesn't it, when you're laying in even laying in the fucking hospital bed, it's just like a kick in the nuts, man.
Yeah. And then, yeah, that was tough. And then I just signed the best contract that I've ever had, and everything was looking good. I had, you know, good paycheck coming in that was pretty solid, and a great team and people behind me, and like gelled well with my motor builder, my suspension guy, my mechanic. Like everything was just going great, like so perfect. And I like just was hungry to win. And then,
yeah, I remember watching that little documentary. Well, and our audience should check out the documentary. It's called Silver Linings with Jessy Nelson. It's on YouTube, and they can check it all out anytime. But it's a fantastic video to watch. It shows a lot of triumph on perseverance. It shows how humble he is. And I remember Jordan talking on there, like him and Tyler were so devastated when that happened to you. It's like somebody pulls the plug on a person's life that they've worked everything that they can, you know. Well, we won't make it a sob story because you're definitely kicking ass in life now. And we just got Craig Scanlon that just called in, and he's been helping you a little bit with your new ventures, huh?
Yeah, Craig's been Craig's really the person that got me into this whole thing. Craig and Mike Emerson and a few other people. And I honestly owe them my life, really. Like, it just being able to go out and enjoy myself and get that adrenaline and that race like craft and mentality kind of going again. Like, I live for that. Like, I felt like when I wasn't doing anything for a little while, like a huge hole was missing, and the fact that I can get that back, which a lot of people would just kind of give it away, but it's like, dude, I've been doing this since I was 7 years old. I'm 25 now. Like, I can't just stop. Like, it's just not in me. I don't know. And I want to go prove to people that sorry. I want to go prove to people, like, I can go win some stuff. Like, let's do it. But it's been tough just getting to the races, really. And luckily I've had some good help from people, but I still got a long ways to go. And like I said, it's a big learning curve. And I want to go win some stuff. Like, I want to show some people what I can do. And it's going to take a little while. It doesn't happen overnight. And I know that, but I feel like I'm making some good jumps.
I can definitely see the fire in your eyes, that's for sure. And obviously Craig did too. Craig, we want to talk to you about a little bit about the Mint 400, but before we get into that, you saw some fire in Jesse's eyes too when you first met him, huh?
Yeah, definitely. Jesse's a one-of-a-kind guy, and I just happened to have run into him one day at Troy Lee Designs when I was out there visiting Troy, and Jesse was in the shop when I walked in, and we kind of hit it off, and I listened to his story, and I left it that day, and it just kind of hit me, and I called up Mike Emerson, who works for Troy Lee Designs, and it's just we started putting the vehicle together for him, and then surprised him at the Youth World Championships with a new vehicle with hand controls and things like that to get him back out there and moving. And I'll tell you, it's the friendship I developed with Jesse, as well as what he's done for Polaris, and also now with us supporting him for 4WP. We couldn't be happier than to see him back out there. And I will tell you, I've ridden with him, and I like to think that I'm pretty good at these things too, but it's crazy how his motocross background allows him to do things with the vehicles that I've never really seen people do with them before.
Yeah, it is pretty crazy to see that. I definitely agree 100%. Jesse, I don't know if you can hear Craig right now, but he talked a little bit about how your motocross background was able to translate. And Craig's obviously a fast driver and in his best in the desert car and stuff, but he was saying that the amount of talent that you can possess behind a side-by-side and the how it transfers over from motocross is pretty impressive, dude.
Well, that means a lot coming from a guy like Craig. He's quite the driver himself. I was watching him at the Mint 400, the live stream that they had.
He can definitely wheel a car, that's for sure. Yeah,
and the live stream they had there was great. They had a pretty good shot of him coming into the pit pretty hot.
Can you hear Jesse, Craig?
No, I can't.
I can't hear Craig though.
Looks like the Dirt Life needs to upgrade their audio equipment. Well, we can hear both of you guys, and that's pretty awesome that you guys both have the admiration for each other. He was also saying that how well you can drive a car, and he was watching the live feed at the Mint 400, which is pretty cool, and he saw you kicking ass out there, Craig. That was awesome to see.
I appreciate it. It was a fun race. It was the first race for our brand new car that we've built the last 2 years with help from guys from Heilzer down in Louisiana, and then also the guys at Jimco built us a pretty damn good car. And we took it out to the Mint 400 with, I think I had driven it about 25 miles before we raced it. And for us, it was a big learning race for us because we wanted to get some real live race miles on it before the San Felipe 250 because we're racing in Mexico this year for points.
Oh, sweet, man.
So we're excited about that. So, it's funny because we finished the race and it was a brutal course, and we looked at the car and it was like, wow, doesn't even look like it really raced. We had a couple electrical issues that took us down some time, and a couple things with tire pressure, and we have new tires on it from Tensor. We got to groove those and do a couple things with some clutching stuff, but I think we're going to have a pretty competitive car come 3 weeks from now in San Felipe, so we're pretty excited about it.
Yeah, so 3 weeks is coming up pretty quick. Jesse, Craig was just saying how they're going to do the San Felipe race coming up in 3 weeks, man. I'm sorry that you guys can't hear each other. I'll definitely work on the audio, but that's awesome that you guys are going to do that, Craig. We're looking forward. I'm sure Jesse's going to watch you guys too.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so.
Sure, it's going to be a good one to watch.
I'll say with the Mint 400,
one of these days I'll make my way down there.
From years past,
experience that.
With it not being in Best in the Desert and not being in Score, so not really being a points race, I've never seen a desert race for UTVs where everybody was pinning it from the very beginning to the very end.
Dude, it was crazy to see that, man.
Yeah, normally we get out there and we get a couple laps in before we really start banging on stuff, but with it being just checkers or wreckers or winner go home, I'll tell you, there was a lot of guys and gals out there that were just going from minute one at 100%. And normally I like to do about 70, 80% the first couple laps and then crank it up based upon where we're at in the race. And you just couldn't do that in this race. It made it more interesting to me, but it was not a race where you could, kind of half throttle it at all. You had to go for it from start to finish.
Dude, yeah, I totally agree. I couldn't believe how many people were just wide open, man. It was crazy. Jesse's over here making faces because he can't hear us, so he's being awesome, Jessy Nelson. If it's okay with you, Craig, I'm going to give the rest of the episode to Jesse, but we would definitely like to invite you on after San Felipe, and maybe we could talk a little bit more about that race and dedicate a little bit more time to you if that's cool.
Awesome, man. Definitely. And thanks for having me, and, continued success to Jesse, and we're super proud of him and excited to be a part of the 4WP. Thanks a lot.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Craig. We really appreciate it. Thanks. Well, have a good night.
You too. Yeah.
Oh, sorry about that, Jess. I wish that the audio had worked, but Craig had a lot of good stuff to say about you. He said that, he's really excited for you to be a part of the team and obviously part of Four Wheel Parts, and it's going to be cool to see him race down at San Felipe in the next few weeks here.
Absolutely. I can't wait to see him race. Like you said, though, with the Four Wheel Parts deal and the group of athletes that they have, and him and Joey Giovanni and Craig have put together the group of people that they have around them, and the athletes that they put together is pretty incredible. And even Craig with helping out the SMG youth drivers, so Dallas Gonzalez and Ethan Groom and
Caden Danbury, yep.
Caden, and there's a few other kids as well, which is really cool to see. I mean, giving back to the sport. I mean, it's tough to go racing, and sponsors like them definitely help out, and I've got nothing but good things to say about both those brands and the people around it, and then even Four Wheel Parts, the stores as well. I spent all of Saturday hanging out there at the Four Wheel Parts store in Riverside, and just the group of guys and the staff that they have, pretty cool to see, and how knowledgeable they all are, and just nice, just down to earth dudes, and guys that just love off-road and cars and trucks just like we all do too.
Yeah, absolutely. You know what I'm noticing here, Case? I said he's humble at first, but like he really thinks about other people a lot, man. Like the things that he says and the way that he conducts himself, man. Jesse's got a really good heart for other people. That's pretty cool.
Absolutely.
Mike Gardner said you're definitely going to win some races, and Caden Danbury said that Craig Scanlon was flying. So it's really rad to see all of the people, yourself included, talking about each other, man. It's a good team atmosphere that everybody supports each other. It's bitching.
Yeah, really cool. I wish Mike wouldn't have sold his RS1 so then he could come put in some practice laps with me, because I got to learn how to pass and battle with people. It'd be cool if he's selling his car, he's racing.
If we want to go full Mike Gardner status and talk shit about him, he likes Ugg boots. He's probably going to buy a quad, and he's probably going to try to paintball quad with you one of these days.
Oh, dude, I can't even walk. I'm gonna smoke them on that thing. Hey, and back to the topic of having Scanlon and I on the same phone call. It's probably better that way, because we probably just would have started talking crap the whole time.
Just had a whole bunch of fun. Well, I got to figure out this audio stuff, dude. I'm way too new at it, but one of these days I'll figure it out. But it was cool for us to at least hear you guys. I'm sorry that you guys couldn't hear each other. Well, okay, so let's go back to the support mechanisms. You obviously went through that traumatic life experience, and we don't have to keep talking about it because I want to talk about the positive stuff. But you had your wife as a support mechanism. You guys weren't married yet, but you obviously said that you knew that she was the one. So what was your goals, and what were you thinking, like, okay, my motocross career is done here. What is your life like after that?
Honestly, it was a little bit in shambles for a little while, and I didn't really know which direction I was going to go. I was like, do I keep going through therapy and doing all this stuff, which I continue to do, and with the help of Road to Recovery and you know, the organization that they have, I was able to do that. And then I still had some help from some sponsors, and then honestly, you were a big help in part of my recovery, or just, you know, getting my mental side back to where I'd like it to be. And hearing your story, and I was like, wow, these guys are out racing. You and Josh Fredericks and a couple other guys I'd heard from, and I was like, wow, that's really cool. And like some other guys were talking to me about getting on a dirt bike again and that, and I was like, no, like I really wasn't into that, because I don't want to go ride a dirt bike sitting down the whole time. Yeah. I don't want to be caged. I don't want to be caged in, and then I don't want to go break a femur. I don't want to go break my neck or something. Like, I can go hop in a Razor, load it up, do everything on my own, and once I'm in it, you can't even tell there's any difference between anybody. Yeah. And I like that, and I don't want to be a burden for people. Like, oh, hey man, can you load my bike? Can you start it? Can you put me on it? Like, I mean, I'm sure I could get on it, but it's just like, that's just way too much stuff. And I'm like, nah, that ship sailed. And like, if I can't ride like I know how, like, there's no point for me going out there.
And was your now wife on board with that at the time?
She was like, are you sure that's what you want to do? And I'm like, come on, let's go. Like, we can go. I'll let you drive. I'll drive. Like, you can hop in the passenger seat. And she loved it. Like, she's her family grew up going to like Glamis and stuff, and
perfect.
They used to have a Funco, and they would go to the dunes and stuff like that. So like, honestly, I'd try my hardest to scare her sometimes. I don't ever want to go, no matter what. Like, if I have a passenger, I'm never going to drive out like too out of control or like above my capability.
Yeah,
like, that's
got
just
precious cargo.
Yeah, I'm not trying to like hurt somebody in the process of me trying to do something. I'm not into that. But there's been times where I've got on it pretty hard on a mountain ridge or on a track or something, and she's sitting co-pilot, and she never says a word. Like, she's like, wow, that was cool. And I'm like, I can't even go passenger for more than a mile.
That's cool.
Like,
though.
I just have a really hard time putting my life in someone else's hands. And hats off to Keith, Craig's co-driver, because I'm sure Craig's not the smoothest driver.
Mashes the throttle.
with being courteous to his co-pilot.
He said that at the Mint they actually did pretty good. That new car did really well, and they actually had a pretty smooth race, so that's cool, man. Well,
honestly, that is like the nicest Polaris Razor I've ever seen.
Dude, it looks sweet.
It is so cool, and the craftsmanship and the engineering aspect of everything that they put into it is pretty pretty crazy. It's hard to believe it's a Razor, and those guys, they've got a good gig going.
Well, he does a lot of testing, obviously, that he can relate back to the team at Polaris and stuff like that. Mike Gardner says I call bullshit on the carrying, going slower, calmer with the passenger.
On the what?
On going calmer with the passenger.
Okay. Sorry, TJ. That was a fluke deal. Mike roosted me, and I was trying to roost him back, and then I got a little happy, and it was dark, and I couldn't see, and I had a sore throat for like a week and a half, and it was just tough.
Well, so it is really awesome to see that you were able to overcome that injury and stuff. And for people that don't know Jesse or his story, when he was at Unadilla racing in pro motocross race, he crashed, I guess, like a high side, so in a corner. Is that kind of what it was? And you flipped over and you ended up breaking back.
Hit a track marker and kind of high sided off of it. I think my bike must have just popped me right in the back the right way, but I couldn't have done it off a triple or something cool. It just had to be in a corner.
Yeah, it never ends up being like that, right? I did mine at the bottom of Mount St. Helens when I was actually racing with Jimmy Button at the time. But it was the bottom of Mount St. Helens, flew off the back and just launched and did.
George, I got to ask you a question. How old are you?
41.
You're 41?
Yep. Old, dude.
Wow, I thought you were like early 30s.
No,
he's surprised. He's like, you got to be 50.
No, we're old. We're old, dude.
Dang, I did not think that you were 40.
Yeah, I've lived enough in my life to have 10 lives already at least. So we're gonna start a second podcast. We're gonna call it 19 Lives, just because I've lived so many fucking lives so far.
Yeah, that's one thing too about racing. You're gonna live more racing in 10 years than most people will in lifetime.
Yeah, exactly.
That's true.
And that's one of the things that I was going to get back to asking you after we kind of talked about your support mechanisms and where you're at now is, you're starting this side-by-side racing now. I mean, you've got it, a year and a half, 2 years into it now, but you're learning, we won't call it slowly, but you're on a fast pace of learning how it is good. And most people would just be ecstatic to have just this in their life, and you've already gone through a whole nother set of life, like you've did all your motocross racing, you've gone through a life of being understanding of having a disability, and now you're in we'll call it your third life of getting back out there and doing something, starting fresh. It's pretty bitchin' to see that, dude. You have a lot to look forward to.
No, absolutely. And it's pretty remarkable that I can still go out and do this stuff, and the whole Razor platform's made it possible, which is really cool. And I don't know, like you said, it's I've been at it for I've had a Razor for almost 2 years now, or about 2 years, and I had a back surgery about a year ago, which I was out for 8 months. So I've only had about 7-8 races, I think, if I can count them all. But trying to push harder. It's just putting the means to the ends and putting it in place and
how do you feel
executing
when you're driving? Like, how do you feel behind the wheel? Like, do you feel like pretty confident? Do you feel like you can push harder than what the vehicle is? Like, what do you feel like?
I think it's a fine line to know in the car too, because like I want to push it as hard as I can, or like where I'm like slamming into stuff, and like, it doesn't work that way with those cars. I think that's why I break a lot of stuff too. So it's like, and it's also, I have not done a day of testing. I have not had a setup day or anything. I kind of just have bolted stuff on and tried to run it, which I think it's kind of running its course now, where I need to start trying some offsets and some suspension testing and maybe just really get it set up, because I'm not comfortable. I'll say that. Like, I feel I could hop in my Turbo S and I feel unreal, like so good, and then I kind of get in my race car and it just feels so foreign and weird, and I'm not that stoked on it. But did a little bit of a front shock change for Taft, and like I felt like it was better, and I felt like I could jump and like feel the car a little bit more, but it's a long ways off. I think it's just some fine tuning, and then it'll be a lot better. But
yeah, I know what you mean.
Like
though.
you said, learning.
It's definitely a learning curve. And when I got behind the car, too, I was the same way. I was like, it doesn't feel right. It doesn't feel right. But that's because I was used to being able to move my body on top of something like a dirt bike. And then now you're stuck in it. And then so it definitely feels weird. Caden Danbury said, though, don't let him fool you. He's still a great driver. He loves watching you drive. But I think you can probably agree with me on this, is that you're driving the car better than it needs to be driven because you're trying to compensate for something. Once the car can catch up to you a little bit, I think you'll be able to really show what you're capable of.
Yeah, it's honestly just it's getting the help and getting some fabricators or some people with that are a little bit like-minded and want to do this. I just need to get a group together and be like, all right, let's focus on this and make it happen. Which my goal for the next couple months is to get a new race car or a new RS1 and build that out with all fresh components, everything, and kind of start from scratch. Let's try a different steering setup, a little bit different brake system, and, maybe play with clutching. I haven't even touched my car as far as motor or performance wise, and maybe just play with settings and things like that, because I don't know enough about the cars to really pinpoint what it is, but I kind of have an idea of what I want it to feel like and what it's doing, and I haven't been like that comfortable with it. I mean, I'm sure it's great for somebody else driving it or somebody has a car background for maybe for my style or what I kind of expect it to be. It's way different, but
to put it in perspective,
I'm not educated enough in it.
Yeah, but that's good that you understand that, first of all. And to put it in perspective for people that are getting into racing or understand that, or even professional racers right now that have a lot of help or whatever, going at it the route that Jesse's going, learning what it's all about, understanding how the car feels when it's not right, is going to be way more valuable in the long run. Like if he faces all this stuff right now and goes through it, in a year, he's going to be much better off and much faster during his career.
Yeah, and the whole thing, Jesse and George, if you think back to maybe 20 minutes ago, we were talking about, the amputee thumb and all that stuff. Like, we talk about this all the time. Everything you've done is like a new normal. We talk about this all the time. Like, okay, so you wake up with something change, and now it's like the realization of this is the new normal, right? So then, and you've done that in multiple things. This is just the next step of this is your new normal, and you're like, I didn't grow up on 4 wheels. I grew up on 2 wheels, and I expect some different things out of it. Well, to you, that's the normal. You know what I mean? And because you've done that and labored through those things throughout your life, you're going to keep doing the same thing and find exactly what you need. Because, the realization of this is the new normal. How can I be the best I can be with what I got?
Yep, exactly.
Yeah, I feel like I've done really well with that in my life with whether if I didn't have the best equipment on a motorcycle in my amateur days, or I didn't have setups that I liked in my first, few years racing professionally, or my thumb or anything like that, or trying to race with a blown knee, and you just kind of like, I just adapt. I adapt quickly,
Right.
And try to chameleon whatever I'm doing.
It's that mindset, obviously.
It is. And I think that's what the mindset that's driven him through these different injuries and through his life and stuff. Even that mindset to go after something that he wanted for 3 months on Instagram. Like, I mean, that is like all of those things most people don't do.
Right.
Like they should be like, okay, well, I'm going to try to talk to this person on Instagram, and then all of a sudden they say no, and they just give up, right? Well, Jesse doesn't know give up. Like,
obvious.
He doesn't know those words. Like, that's pretty awesome, man, to have that mindset and that personality.
Definitely.
Yeah, and as far as that 3 months going there, I knew it for that first date. It was hook, line, and sinker.
All right, we'll have to talk to her and see what she says about that, bud.
Okay.
That's awesome, though, dude. But my point is that you really, really do have to have a personality to really want to drive forward and be the best that you can be in any of those things. I mean, he doesn't get into the position that he is now with having great partners like 4 Wheel Parts, having all these side-by-side friends, and even if he hasn't made it to the level that he wants to in side-by-side yet, he will, because he's got the long game in mind. And I think that is so fantastic, man. Like, it gives me drive to make me want to do better. Well,
I mean, it doesn't happen overnight, and it's going to be a curve, and it's going to be a tough one. And I feel like the curve, I mean, for how many times I've raced, how far I'm off, the things I need to do, I feel like it shouldn't be the gap it's not as big as it seems for the long picture, I say. You know what I mean? If that makes any sense, the way I kind of worded that.
Yeah, it makes 100% sense. Yeah, we totally get it. Well, so what are the the plans for the near future then? You gonna race some more works races this year?
Yeah, I'm gonna try to race them all. I gotta get my frame welded tomorrow because I just realized I got a crack in it.
Uh-oh.
I think I hit somebody a little hard or something hard, and fix that. I got a couple things to get ready for this weekend. I'm gonna go race and then try to get things set up and I don't know, try to get on the next break for work. So I want to try to really push hard to get another car built and set up.
Where are you guys racing
I'd like
this
to
weekend?
keep my old one. Lake Havasu.
Oh, really?
Yep, Lake Havasu works race this weekend. It'd be sweet if people.
Do you have anybody coming out there to help?
I think my parents might come. I'm not too sure yet. We'll see. I don't know. We'll see.
Well, how about this? I'll come up and help you.
All right. Tell me how to drive.
I won't tell you how to drive. You already know how to do that. But I'll come up and help you, man. I'll be a wrench for your team and stuff. I'll come up and hang out because we have Sarah Price is going to be on our show next week, so I might just go from Havasu and follow you guys back to California. So yeah, I'll definitely come up. After this, I'll text you and we'll get it all figured out, and I'll come up and help you.
Yeah, I'm sure everybody there would love to see you, and we could have some beers and barbecue or something and hang out.
Dude, who knows what'll happen if I have a beer, though, because I haven't gotten hammered since I got smashed in the face. So we'll see if I'll have a beer or not. Maybe I'll drink an orange soda with you guys.
Okay. Maybe a sun kiss.
Yeah, exactly. That's my new jam. It's crazy how, like, the new normal, like Casey was talking about, like, I've never really cared about orange soda, and all of a sudden I get my face smashed, and it's, like, the new jam for me. Like, I love it. Like, yeah, I need an orange soda IV now.
Yeah, dude, that's honestly, since I got hurt, my weakness has been, well, it's always been In and Out, but now it's even worse. And then my wife, Emily, she introduced me to Chick-fil-A, and that's my weakness. That's bad.
So what do you usually get at In and Out? I went there today.
Double, whole grilled onion, mustard fried, no pickle.
Oh, dang.
That's it.
Nice. Dang, you go you go off the radar too.
It's good. It's simple like that. I like it like that too.
All right,
yeah.
So we have a couple more questions for you. So what are your long-term goals then? We just asked what your short-term goals are. You want to be a champion in the Work Series, I'm assuming?
Honestly, just about anything. I just want to win something and hold the plate. I don't know what it is or what it's going to be. I just want to go win something.
It's coming.
And
dude,
especially especially in a different discipline that maybe some people are like, oh, he couldn't do that or whatever. But, hey, give me some time. I'll start learning it, and I'll figure it out. Just going to be a slow boat getting there. And hopefully, get some more people on board and keep going at that. But, honestly, if I had any opportunity to race anything, I would do it. Other than a motorcycle, I don't really want to go race a dirt bike again. But anything on four wheels, I'm all for it. Let's go for it.
Yeah, that's pretty sweet.
And
I think you're on the fast track to getting a win for sure. It took me, I think, 3.5 years, but when I stood on top of the podium, man, it was like nobody's business. And honestly, for me, it was like when I did that, I was like, well, I still want to win some more, but I've achieved what I needed to do. I beat all these able-bodied guys. I feel good about myself, and my new normal has been achieved. My goal has been achieved. So,
right.
Before I forget, we're going to ride across the country. I'm going to try to ride a dual sport bike, but we're going to take some side-by-side guys with us from Oregon to South Carolina in September if you're down.
Wait, so you guys going to drive a side-by-side on the street?
No, it's all off-road, dude. It's called the Trans-America Trail, and it goes from Oregon down to South Carolina, and it's just all off-road. So we'll
95%, I think.
No, it's supposed to be 100%, but we'll have to get off the
for some support or whatever.
Or to go to a hotel.
I'll hop in for
Gotcha.
I'll hop in for a day or two. I don't know if I'm gonna go all the way there.
Dude, we could even get Blake Savage involved too, because there's a part that goes through Utah.
Oh, I'm sure he would. I called him today. He didn't answer.
Dude, that would
Still
be
waiting for that phone call back.
He ghosted you. That would be sick, though. That'd be so fun to do that.
Definitely.
We did a bunch of side-by-sides. All right, sorry about interrupting you. Well, you've persevered, and your attitude is just amazing, man. Like, I can't tell you how many times that I've seen stuff on your social media or heard stories from other people about the things that you do and the things that you say and the way that you conduct yourself. It really, really resonates with the people around you. Like, I don't think you understand how many people you're positively affecting.
Well, I hope it helps somebody. Even if it seems like I'm pissed off sometimes or I'm in a bad mood or whatever, it's not. Like, I sometimes just throw it out there and I'm like, this is just how I'm feeling right now. Let's see what people say. So I want to do the best and help people as much as I can. And I think a lot of people play the poor me card or like, oh, it's so hard, this or that. But they don't know what hard is.
Yeah. I feel like those people that do say that stuff, they really haven't been through anything that's been as severe as the things that you've been through. Well, all right, let's wind this down a little bit. So what does the future hold for you outside of racing?
As of right now, I am working on, I live in Southern California right now. I am working on moving back up to the Central Coast where I grew up. Trying to get a shop put on a piece of property right now. And nice. From there, so that way, I want to be able to have, for right now, I don't even have room to work on a single car in my garage. I got to take them all out, bring them back in every time I go to work on it. So that's been a real issue as far as getting stuff prepped and ready. And then I have all my family and close friends that I've had for years where I grew up, so I want to go back there and then eventually I want to try to get a piece of property and build a track on it, and then start helping out some amateur kids coming up through the ranks in our area and work with some youth kids and be able to have my own facility and stuff eventually.
Dude, how cool would that be to
awesome.
give back and still have some fun doing the things that you're doing?
And there's nothing up there on the Central Coast like that, or even, in that whole 4-hour range between there. So it'd be cool to do.
Is there fun places to ride side-by-sides up there?
Oh, there's tons. So much stuff.
Sweet. Yeah, that'd be perfect then.
And then we're only, 30 minutes or 28 minutes, 25, whatever, from Pismo Beach.
Oh, sweet. That's
awesome.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Next to our buddies up there at Rugged Radios.
Yeah, Los Padres National Forest. There's a bunch of people. But as far as right now, trying to get some good people alongside the great people I already have helping me out as far as, racing with 4 Parts and Polaris and guys like Red Bull and Walker Evans, Method Race Wheels, Sparko. I just got a great group of people, Seal Savers, it's been really great. And BF Goodrich, I've been super thankful and blessed. I've worked a long time to get where I'm at as far as, my reputation or my racing and my background that I've had. And it feels good to have people still behind me and doing what I love to do.
Yeah, you're doing amazing, man. And I like I said, I give you a lot of credit for all the things that you do and the way that you conduct yourself. I think it's really, really making a big difference, especially transcending one industry and coming into another. It's really cool to see that you're just so humble and all that stuff. The last question is, how can our audience connect with you? But it's Jessy Nelson 79, Jessy with a Y, Jessy Nelson 79 on Instagram. And anything else that you want to say before we do our rapid fire Q&A?
I would say if anybody's trying to reach me, my hands are always touching wheels, so I'm always busy doing something. Like even right now, I was just running parts, so that's why I'm still in my truck. I would have rather been at home and had good lighting on me, so I apologize for that. I've just been swamped with this, and if I don't reply, send me another message. If I don't reply after that one, send me a period. Just send something so where it pops up and I can see it, because I got a lot of people in my ear and I got a lot of stuff going on, and I'm just doing best that I can.
Well, one thing that I got to say is that's awesome that you get back to people, but make sure you keep focusing on you, dude. You're doing a lot of cool stuff, and the things that you're doing to not just help yourself, but to help your team, the people around you and stuff, it doesn't go unseen, man. You're really doing a good job, so keep up the good work. All right, Case.
Thank you.
Are you ready for the rapid-fire Q&A, Jess?
Sure.
All right, favorite motocross track?
Ironman.
Favorite food?
Sushi.
iPhone or Android?
Come on. We're FaceTiming right now.
I know.
Good answer.
So I always have that question just to profile people. It's like when you
Yeah,
put on...
because you sometimes meet people and you're like, you're an Android user for sure.
That's exactly why I do it. Like when they put on Jimmy Buffett at a bar, you're like, uh-oh, somebody's profiling. Wait until the chicks get dancing.
Favorite GP rider?
Come on, what's next?
Favorite GP rider, sorry.
Favorite what?
GP rider.
GP rider? As far as like what, Superbike?
No, you could pick MotoGP if you wanted to. I was talking about like MXGP, like Cairoli, Hurlings.
I'm gonna say Crowley.
Yeah, he's pretty sweet. I don't know. For favorite GP rider, I'm kind of going with some of the new guys. Dude, I like dude, why did I just forget his name? He just switched to Gas this year, 259.
Hoff.
Yeah, dude, he's good, man.
Yeah, I like him a lot too. Don't get me wrong. That gas is a KTM though.
I know what it is. I just like it because it's red, dude.
Oh yeah.
All right, most memorable race.
Not
a bad.
All my friends were there, and well, not all of them, but a couple. And Gardners were there. Craig was there. I didn't know what was going on, but I had the time of my life. It was cool.
Well, see, there you go.
That's
so
awesome.
Talk about humble and the new beginnings, you know. Like he won an Anaheim Supercross, and he mentioned that his side-by-side race was a good
Pretty
race.
awesome. So,
Chocolate chip cookie dough, but that's like, I guess it's more like vanilla or something.
All right, M&M's or Skittles?
Peanut butter M&Ms.
Oh, you're going peanut butter M&Ms?
Nice. He's got the setup. He's got an eye for the setup because obviously that was details.
Yeah,
right?
exactly. Okay, so I already know the answer to the next question, but I forgot to ask him it, so we'll go ahead and get into it.
Dogs or cats?
Yep.
Dogs, come on.
Yeah,
I'm allergic to cats.
I'm allergic to cats too, but the reason I know he likes dogs is you and your wife actually help rescue dogs, right?
Yeah, too often. We have. She was talking to me today. She's like, "Look at these two labs. They're brother and sister, and they need a foster." I'm like, "We already got 4 dogs in the house right now. We just got rid of 3 puppy husky fosters that we had. So let's chill out for a little bit."
It's only going to be a problem when you match your amateur titles with dogs.
Oh my god, dude!
Oh jeez.
Could you imagine that?
Yeah.
No.
Hey, it's cool though. It's really cool though. The dogs that we've gotten, like I always thought adopting was cool until we finally like really got dogs adopted. And our husky, he's like my favorite dog. And I don't know, we just bonded so well. And when we first got him, he was kind of gnarly. Like he bit me 3 times. I've never had a dog bite me, and I was scared of him. And now he's like my best friend. So, and it's just the change and like his whole demeanor and everything is so cool to see. And when you find every time you rescue a dog, saves another dog, and the cycle just keeps going. And
yep,
it's a cool thing to do.
That is super cool, man. Well, yeah, keep doing what you're doing with that. Okay, burrito or taco?
Burrito.
Yeah. Well, what kind though? Because are you going California burrito?
Surf and turf burrito.
Ooh, dang, that's
Nice.
pretty stylish.
Come on.
All right.
If you were in the movie Hangover, which character would you be?
Maybe Alan.
You're going Alan. So next time you're standing next to your car, sitting next to your car at the races, and they're like filling it with gas or whatever, just be like, "Don't touch it. Don't even look at it. Just walk away."
Yeah, I always say that. Always say that.
Right on. All right. 2 more questions. What other form of racing would you like to try? You can pick anyone. They have Formula 1, MotoGP, anything.
I don't know. The asphalt thing, that's tricky for me. That's way out of my element. But, hey, you can always work on things and get better. Maybe I'll go down to pole position tonight. Put some laps down.
Dude,
There you go.
Honestly, I think rally would be really cool.
Ooh, that's a good answer.
Yeah, it is.
That would be super
Rally
fun.
would be really cool. Even short course like Lucas trucks, those would be cool. But
I feel like rally
that's
is like a little bit higher level, though.
Yeah. It's like F1
Yeah,
off-road
I think-
almost.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really cool. I don't know how I would do at it or how I would be able to do it, but if I ever got a chance to, that would be really cool. My dad's just certainly not going to flip the bill on that one, so I got to figure it out on my own. So, we'll see.
All right, last question.
This one always has some controversy, doesn't it?
It does.
It's easy. Chips
Oh,
and
gosh.
chips and guacamole or fries and ketchup.
Oh, chips and guac, for sure.
Okay, good.
Dude, we had some
No drama.
Yeah, we had some pretty high drama level with Steve Westfall is, right?
Steve, what?
Steve Westfall, crew chief of Rockstar Energy Husqvarna.
No, I feel like I should know him though.
Yeah. So
Steve? Scuba Steve?
Scuba Steve, yeah.
Steve, yeah.
Oh, yeah, Scuba Steve, yeah.
Of course. So
Yeah, I know Steve.
he was pretty controversial on the chips and guac. He's like all about fries and ketchup. He don't like tacos. He wants pizza.
Yep.
Like he's so East Coast,
New
dude.
York, yeah. It's funny.
Oh, yeah. I want to go fishing with that guy.
I think everybody wants to go fishing with Scuba Steve. I really do. You know it would be a
Yeah.
great time.
For sure.
All right, man. Well, thank you very much for joining us.
On another level, is Steve, he's team manager of Husky now?
Yeah, crew chief.
Oh, damn, good for him. That's cool.
Yeah, he's doing super good, man. He's an awesome dude too. I definitely want to go. Well, I've only talked to him once, and that was on the show, and I definitely want to go fishing with him too.
Totally.
So if you get to go, I'm coming.
Steve's rad. Yeah, if you come down, we can just pop over to Canyon Lake and go rip some lips.
Yeah, that would be sweet, man. All right, well, thank you very much for joining us, dude. I really appreciate you taking all the time out of your day. You've been sitting in the truck for a while, and
Oh, you're good.
I want to tell you, man, keep up everything that you're doing. I know that some days get hard, and you wake up and you're just like, fuck my life, whatever. You're doing a fantastic job, man. You give a lot of people inspiration, including myself, and seeing the things and the attitude that you do is just, it's phenomenal. So keep doing what you're doing, bud.
Well, you threw the faces in during our downtime, so that was pretty awesome.
Well, hey, dude, there's nothing I can change now. It was my fuck up, so I got to live with it. So there's days where I get pissed off, but it's more like I just want to get something done quick. It's nothing like where it just takes me a little bit longer. But yeah, it's not too bad. But hopefully we'll have some new videos out. Been working on some content coming up here soon, and thank you guys for having me be a part of the Dirt Life show, and I appreciate it. You guys having me on.
Yeah, man, thank you very much. We'll be
same
paying
to you.
attention to that content.
Absolutely.
So, all right, bud, well, we'll let you go. I'll text you in just a little bit here, and we'll get a little bit of information on going to Havasu. So I'll see you this weekend.
All right, guys, sounds good. Thank you.
Later, Jesse. Have a good one.
See ya.
Yeah, you too.
That was pretty amazing, dude.
Pretty awesome.
It's crazy. Like, you and I say this all the time, dude. But seriously, like, I don't understand how this show makes it makes me feel different. Like, I feel so much different right now than I did 3 hours ago.
Right.
Like, I feel so much better talking to these people and understanding their stories. It's just crazy.
It's so cool that it's such a reoccurring, and we're not manufacturing it, but it's a reoccurring story of.
Jesse didn't even know we were going to be on FaceTime today. He's like, I'm just calling in, right? I'm like, no, dude, you got to be on FaceTime. Like, we don't make this up.
But like I said, it's like, new normal, adversity, facing it, dealing with it, overcoming it, and making the best of it. Like, it keeps happening
But to understand all those little idiosyncrasies and all the details and all that stuff,
absolutely.
it puts such a meaningful piece to life.
No doubt.
Oh, man, it's crazy. Well, thank you very much, Jessy Nelson, for joining us. We really appreciate you taking all the time out of your busy schedule. Thank you very much, Craig Scanlon, for calling in. I apologize for not knowing what I'm doing with this audio stuff. And thank you very much for Justin Smith calling in, too.
For sure.
I appreciate you coming over, Case, and
Absolutely.
obviously hanging out and doing the show.
For 29.
Yeah, 29 is pretty good, man. I think we're going to be, 52 weeks a year. So 1 week, we're going to have 70-something shows coming up pretty quick. That's going to be awesome.
So before I forget, I was going to mention it last time and I totally forgot. Did you see, again, new normal, right? New thing, something you're passionate about. I'm going to give it my all. You're doing it on the show, obviously. Did you happen to see the video about Carmichael and what he's doing?
No, what?
So he's obviously, the announcer for
Commentating, yeah.
Monster Energy. And he takes the same passion in his racing. These are ad-libbing, obviously, but this is what he's saying to that broadcast every night. And every time he's like, how do we be the best at it?
Yeah.
How can I be better at it? How can I? So I was just throwing that out there that it doesn't matter what you do. When you're wired that way, that's what you do it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, now that you mention it, and I don't mean to toot my own horn, but I feel the same way. Like, I wake up every day and I'm like, how can I be better? Like, what can I do more? Like, there's so many little things going on behind the scenes that people may or may not see with the show, but I feel like they come to fruition at a gradual pace. You know what I mean? And you do it with your work, and Jessy is obviously doing it with the stuff that he does. Justin Smith is doing it with shock therapy every day. Craig Scanlon is clearly, he's made his way up through the ranks doing, he's the president of Transamerica Auto Parts now, and he was working with 4 Wheel Parts and Polaris. I mean, everybody wakes up and has that same mentality. It's awesome, dude.
Yeah, and God's given us how many hours on this earth, right? Make them count.
Dude, for
and
real,
doing the best every time.
You're gonna make me cry talking about that, dude. But yeah, that is really cool, and it's just so cool to see, man. I love seeing stories like Jessy's.
Absolutely.
Shayna and Brittany were saying that just watching, makes them so happy just seeing how Jessy's doing, and
no doubt.
they knew him from a young age and stuff. So it's really cool to see that. Like, I didn't know Jessy from a young age, but I'm glad I know him now.
Absolutely.
It's super cool. This show is really, really getting me going, that's for sure. All right, well, I want to thank everybody for joining. We really, really appreciate everybody. More than you guys know, this show is a lifeblood to a lot of people now, and they really like it, and we really, really like it too. So we apologize for any of the audio issues. We hope that it came out well. We hope that you could hear everything. Thank you very much for commenting in. If we didn't get to your comments, we are going to try to do a little bit better job next time as well. But again, thank you so, so much. Please don't ever hesitate to hit us up on social media. You can always hit us up on Instagram at The Dirt Life Show. You can search for The Dirt Life Show on Facebook. You can always go to our YouTube channel and www.thedirtlifeshow.com. We are going to have some new merch. We're going to have a whole bunch of new stuff. You can see all our old videos, old episodes. You can always hit us up on iTunes, all those mediums. We're everywhere. So anywhere you want to go, you can always check us out. We really, really appreciate you guys very much. Thank you very much to our sponsors, Justin Smith for calling in, Shock Therapy. Use the code DIRTLIFE to save a whole bunch of cash. The guys at Rugged, thank you very much for joining and giving us a Dirt Life code to share with the audience. So use that code DIRTLIFE to save a whole bunch on your Rugged radio equipment. Thank you very much to the Zollinger guys, and congratulations to them on winning the Mint 400 in the UTV Unlimited class. Use the code DIRTLIFE at ZollingerRacingProducts.com. And the guys at Solder World, thank you very much, Lance and Vanessa and everybody over at Solder World. We really appreciate it. Next week's guest, we have a phenomenal guest. Her name is Sarah Price. She's a now trophy truck racer. She raced side-by-sides. She was a professional woman motocross racer. All of those things are probably going to get me going again next week, dude. So I'm going to see if maybe we could do a show in California. That'd be pretty cool. So thanks, Casey, for coming in.
Absolutely.
Really appreciate it. We want to give a shout-out to Casey's family for letting him do this. Want to say hi to Jim Peck. I hope you're feeling better. Thank you guys very much. We will see you guys next week. Peace.
My watch party finally didn't die.
Yeah. All right, guys. We'll see you later.
Thanks for listening to The Dirt Life Show.